Oh yeah, welcome to DocWob TV. I have no idea what episode it is, so if you're counting, good for you. We've been so busy in the workshop, Danny hasn't had a chance to film, so we are now playing catch up a little bit on the episodes. So the RM 250 Pichon bike, as ridden, I'm reliably informed by Joseph Dobes in the Grand Prix in 05 or something, is nearly completion. We're waiting on a few bits and pieces, so I'll show you around this one in a minute. We're balls deep into all the VMXdN builds. So this year we've got 9 YZ250s. One's going to be for Tommy, so it can't say Yamaha on it. One's going to be the nearly new YZ250-06, which I can show you if you want. That's for an American coming over, which I can't. There's been embargo on me telling anybody who that is yet, but I'm quite excited about it. So there's that one, and then there's going to be 3 from last year and 5 new builds. So we've got a lot going on. So the biggest thing with factory bikes is always suspension. Suspension's a massive, massive thing. It's the most expensive thing on them, really. Factory suspensions always cost about $60,000, 60,000 euro, that kind of money. It's off the scale. I know people think that kit stuff's expensive, but they've only ever made that so they can run it as Supercross. But the full factory stuff's retarded money. So these have got KYB full factory forks in them. They've got, at the moment, cast bottoms. I have located a set of billet feet for it, so when I go to the States I'm going to bring them home with me, so they'll have the correct feet on. But one thing you have to remember with these factory bikes is they're not the same from race to race, let alone month to month. So the bike that you're looking at pictures of from the Bouquet International in January ain't the same bike that rolls onto the first start line, which ain't the same bike which rolls onto the second start line, let alone at the end of the year. So the things are changing massively. So you can look at a picture all you want and tell me your sticker's in the wrong place, but I'm telling you, these things changed. They were fluid. They were only a bike for the one weekend, and I guarantee the bikes never had them wheels in, matching them forks. And anybody who says to you, oh, it's got matching engine and frame numbers, they're full of shit. Because I'm telling you, there ain't no factory mechanic in the world has ever pulled a set of cases off a bench on the Tuesday between Grand Prix and thought, oh, I need to make sure these match the... You take a note of the numbers, but matching ain't such a thing anymore. So anyway, so that's front end done. Front wheel, I rebuilt new rims, new spokes. I polished the front hub. The front hub on all the factory Suzukis was always a production hub, machined down, all the casting marks off it and polished. The oversized front disc, but not as big oversized as they ran in the States. This is a 260. In the States, they were running 270s and 280s, depending on how much grip they had. Pirelli tyres. Should have mousses in them, but mousses go flat, so we just put tubes in them just for display purposes. Whether the bike's going to get ridden or not, we don't know. So at the end of the day, we have to build it so you can go and race it if you want to. We can't just make it look pretty. It ain't the way we roll. Engineers over here. Where's my coffee anyway? I thought you wanted me to come in. No. Another big thing is the brakes. On the factory Suzuki, believe it or not, they just ran production Honda from mass cylinder. But the caliper was always factory Suzuki. Factory Suzuki hose. The caliper, they varied depending on grip. So you went for, sometimes they had a 27, 30 millimeter piston combo. So you had different size pistons. So you had a good feel at the bottom, but then when you grabbed a handful, it would stop. This, I believe, has got the same size pistons in, which would be for normal grip conditions. So they would have changed them, but it's a full factory caliper. This one's not mag, some of them mag, but the mag ones don't last very long at all because the tolerances go out of them pretty quick. So oversized carrier, we've rebuilt it, new seals and all that stuff, so it should work as good as it did from the day it rolled out of Slyvain Geboers' workshop. So what you see here, factory triple clamps, These are 23mm offset. You will have different offsets for different conditions again. Fast tracks, slow tracks, sandy tracks, all run different offsets. So you have to run with what you're given really with these things. So I believe these are a 23.5mm offset maybe. Early twin walls, that's what he ran. We went for a cloth bar pad, factory Suzuki clutch perk, which has got the hardest rubber to fit in the world without splitting it. But luckily we've got a couple of spares. And then you go into the frame. Frame is a factory piece. It is different to the American ones, I can tell you that much. How different, I don't know. If you can see, it's got, can you see there, the steering stops welded on the down tubes. And the steering stops on the triple clamps here, as opposed to a piece sticking out the front. Now in America, they changed that when Ricky used to go through the whoops and smash the steering stops off. That's how they come now on the 4-strokes. So I've seen a lot, haven't I? On the American bikes, you're not allowed to remove anything from the frames. They have to run a production frame. You can add to the frame, but you can't remove. So if you've got a genuine factory American frame, it's still got the lug sticking forward, which is on my Carmichael bike, but on the Japanese ones, it got removed. So no AMA production rule there. So the steering stops are on the down tube to the bottom clamp, just to make sure you don't have any issues. The frame on this one, we paint stripped it and painted it with 2-pack car paint to match the colour. We had to mask the top steering head out because it's still got the original scrutineering marks from the last time it was raced at a Grand Prix. So to keep the patina, we didn't want to mess about with that. So we paint stripped it, really lightly sandblasted it, and then got it painted. So the frame's back to original paint. It was looking pretty scabby. And I remember back in the day with Slyvain didn't like his mechanics painting cases, painting frames, because his argument was always it's a race bike, not a show bike. And I get that, but once you've been to the States and they're polishing the shit out of everything, they do look a lot nicer than the American bikes, because the American mechanics spend a lot more time fluffing and buffing them. But the factory stuff in Europe's usually a lot trickier. It's getting started to hurt my shoulder. I'll talk about the skid plate, so then you can maybe edit that in.
Yeah.
So on the frame, had the lugs for the factory skid plate. Didn't have a factory skid plate, but luckily enough, I had one. So I cleaned up an old one I had and fitted that. So that was the touch. They are the same as the American ones. So then you're into the motor. The motor on this is really, really special. And I know people are saying that is stand cast cases. The bottom end is from like an 03, 04 shape. Cylinders off an 02. Trust me, they're different engines. So we had to have it apart, see what it looks like inside, because when a bike leaves here, you have to go and race it if you wanted to. We can't just have it. It looks pretty, we don't ride it. We don't. That ain't how we do it. So the motor had to come apart, see where we're at. Hopefully we didn't need too many parts, because finding them can be a mission. But anyway, we had it apart. I had to buy 2 gasket kits in the end, one for the bottom end, one for the top end. It's trick in there. It's real special. So it's got all the gold titanium nitrate coated gear selector mechanism like it's supposed to, all the power valves the same way. These are all magnesium cast head, billet clutch, she's trick. It's got 5-speed gearbox in, which I know they had options on that, but that's what's in this one. So it's got oversized impeller. Strangely enough, it's only got a production clutch cover, so sometimes they had a Hinson clutch cover on them, sometimes they didn't. This one come with it's a mag clutch cover, so we've Cerakoted that just to stop it going manky. Race teams used to not bother because they were constantly over it with WD-40, whatever, but you can't leave bare magnesium uncoated out in the wild because it will just turn to dust. It's a shame, but it's the way it is. So motor's really, really, really special. Carbon fibre power valve covers. It's ever so trick. Electrics on these are a ball ache. There's a lot of electrics going on with these. So these have got sensors and solenoids, and they didn't change the frame, they just kept adding more shit. So you kept kind of jamming it in this little triangle space under here, trying to keep it out of harm's way. So you've got a solenoid for the power jet, and the electrics are really special. The electrics are programmable, which back in the day, nobody really knew what that was. So it's another big part of factory bikes, electrics, and you have to be able to have the programs to program them to run how they got to run, because otherwise you'll just give them like a monkey a keyboard. There's no point. So you've got to know what you're doing. So this thing is the right together tool. You want to take the side panel off so you can see the silencer?
Yes. Please.
One thing.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I figure as I'm standing in this end of the bike, we'll talk about the back end of the bike. So silencer is a full factory carbon fibre titanium piece. Really cool. Again, Europe and America had different lengths, different core diameters. The American one moved down a lot closer. It was, I've got one to show you, but it is quite trick. Rear suspension's uber trick. I mean, really, really trick. High and low speed, separate compression adjusters, cast body, 16mm shaft. She's special. Full billet linkage, that's nice. Again, factory brakes, factory tie foot pegs, cast tie foot pegs, which are really aggressive for back in the day. Factory pedal, so you can adjust the height up and down as well as the free play. Swing arm's a factory piece because you've got the bigger rear axle. Rear wheel, full factory magnesium 4 bearing hub. They don't look the best. I managed to bring this one back, so it actually looks pretty good. When you see a brand new one, they look quite different, but it looks cool. But so new spokes, new rims, new tyres, all the same stuff, because there's an element of patina, but there's an element of, like, the guy wants to put this in his house, so you can't be having knackered old rims and old tyres and stuff on it, so you might as well do all that. Again, factory calipers, but the same diameter piston on the rear as production, but the tolerance is a little bit better. It's got a titanium piston with lightning holes drilled in it. 240 rear disc, so it's the same as the later ones. So there's a lot of normal things the factory bikes haven't before anybody else. Factory chain adjusters. These chain adjusters are actually ball. They've got a little knob on the head which locates into the chain adjuster. I don't really know why, because it can go anywhere. All it does is make it a pain in the ass to change the wheel. So steel axle. They didn't run pie axles. So steel axle, factory axle blocks. Factory steel axle, not production one. Then new chain, new sprockets, new brake pads, cleaned the disc up as best we could. Factory Suzuki's very, very rarely had matching discs. It's just the way it was. Don't ask me why. When they used to come from the factory, they weren't the same bolt pan, so it is what it is. Airbox we cleaned up, still waiting on an airbox mud flap. Nothing particularly trick about the airbox, I don't think. But with these factory bikes, there's not much that is production. So like I said before, factory Suzuki hubs are mag rear and production front. There is some mag fronts floating about, which to be honest, I'd never seen, but we've got a couple. But little interesting point, all the old magnesium used to come, Kawasaki you had loads of it, was all very bronze. And that's why a lot of the aftermarket companies anodise their stuff bronze to make it look like the old factory parts. The reason all the factory parts were bronze is because they used to acodise, not anodise, acodise magnesium, and it went that bronze colour, the dye. So everything became a different colour with that colour. Since then, it's been found out it's cancerous, so it's illegal to use. So now all the magnesium that comes out of the factory is either acodise with this matte silver look or a black. You can't get the bronze anymore. So there you go. So to replicate it is even harder than it used to be. So I'll just take off the red panel so you can see a little bit more of the action. A little bit of product placement there. These are the new, what we call double end T-bar. So we put a socket on this end, on both ends, so you can use it as a lever. They're really cool. This, some of the race mechanics asked us to do it, and to be honest, it is the go-to tool in the toolbox. So again, not cheap, but I'd rather explain the price of quality than apologise for anything less. So the electrics on these, the factory bikes were way worse because the factory would add in different pieces for different like solenoids, and as the electronics got more and more throughout the years, there was more shit to go, more stuff to go on underneath it, and there was just nowhere to put it. So you just try to cram it in this little area around by the coil and try and keep it as tight as you can. But it was just, as the years went on, it got harder and harder until they redesigned the frames to allow somewhere for all those electrics to go. But it was, yeah, it's quite complicated for a bit. So we're getting there. Bottom line is we're running out of parts. So the owner from the bike is, the pipe is in Italy with a guy called David Spinazzi, who is actually a genius with working his magic on pipes, because the pipe's a full factory piece. So that's off being done there. So that should be back in the next few weeks. We've located a cardboard ignition cover, which is the right one. When the bike came in, it had a factory Suzuki one, but it was for a big flywheel. We took it off, no big flywheel. So it needs the right one. Tank, they alternated between black plastic, production mould, but black tank, and aluminium. Aluminium was for mainly sandy, hard, wet conditions, so they needed the extra fuel. So I think we've located a black plastic tank for this one, so that would be correct. Seat and graphics, that might be an issue because Technocell obviously went bust. Now the guy who used to own Technocell owns Blackbird, so we've got to go to him and see if we can get him to remake the graphics for us. So hopefully he'll have the right stuff on. If not, we'll have to get replicas, but we'll try and get the real stuff first. Apart from that, she's probably 2 or 3 hours work away from being finished. So we're in here filming DocWob TV with the 2003 Mickeal Pichon bike, and my partner in crime, Dave King from VMXdN, showed up to have a little look, see what we're up to. So we're talking about the bike, how nice it is. Be nice to see this in action.
Yeah,
VMXdN.
Absolutely. So I've come in to see the Jedi of dirt bike building, old dirt bikes, Rob, and we know that Mickeal Pichon, I think he might even follow DocWob TV.
I don't know about that, but I know that we've got a guy called Pierre Paget, runs a big internet channel in France. He's talking about putting a team in, and he threw the name Pichon out there. I said to him, I've got a bike for him if he wants to ride it. I've got to, we've got to make sure it's okay to ride it, but it seems that it'd be nice to see this thing with an anger.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if any of you guys want to contact Mickeal, who is on Instagram, pop him a message, ask him, is he going to come to VMXdN Foxhills and be reunited with this bike? We'd love him to come, would you? Yeah,
we've already got Chris Pourcel, former world champion French, who's looking really fast on his own KX250. But to put Mickeal on this would be a hell of a thing. So
yeah, no, absolutely.
We're not saying we've got him, but maybe with your help.
Yeah, with your help, we'll try and do the rest.
So thanks for watching. If you can like and subscribe, that really does help. Helps all the algorithms and all the other stuff. If there's anything you want to see on the channel, if you want to see a bit more how-to stuff or a bit more in depth how we do a certain job, put it in the comments. We'll definitely think about it. I'm not saying we'll definitely do it, but we'll definitely think about it. Last thing I need is a bunch of idiots telling me I'm doing everything wrong. Well, that's all right. You do it how you do it. I'll do it how I've done it. So we'll leave it at that, shall we?